Good evening to Dr. Hana and my fellow friends. So we are Group 8, Royal Enfield, are here to present our activity 2 on secretary at, so the case that we have chosen is secretary at government league company remanded for making false claims. So before that, we would like to introduce our group members. So my name is Samsarani Anaprapan Saravanan and my metric number is 212283. Okay. Hema. Okay, so my group members are Hema,
Balkis,
Paramu,
next
Hema.
slide. Okay, so before I start, let me briefly explain the case. This case is happened about 1 year ago where a secretary at government link company has been remanded for 2 days for allegedly falsifying documents for a payment from the company's management. So what the secretary did is he prepared a fake meeting minute for the company's board of directors to get approval for higher dividend, director allowance and incentive payment for himself and to the accounting officer. He also has gotten the documents signed by the company's former director to confuse the management of GLC and have the payment approved. Next slide.
So the issue here is, does the secretary of the state government link company has breached his duty? So that is a issue. So the law or ruler here is according to section 238 subsection 1 subsection B of Companies Act 2016, a person should disqualified to act as a secretary if he is convicted whether in or outside Malaysia of any offence related to section 198 subsection 1 subsection C related to bribery, fraud, dishonesty and misappropriation of corporate asset. So moreover, the section 238 subsection 2 of Companies Act 2016, notwithstanding subsection 1, if the registrar, if of the opinion that a person has failed to act honestly or use reasonable diligence in the discharge of his duty as a director, so the registrar may require the person to show cause why his practicing certificate should not be revoked or why he should not be disqualified for acting as a secretary of company. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. So the application here, in the present case, the secretary at the state government link company has been remanded for 2 days for allegedly falsifying documents to obtain approval uh, from the company's management last year, in which he have prepared a fake minute of meeting for the company's board of directors to get approval for the higher dividend and then director allowance and also incentive for the payment of secretary and also accountant. So the secretary has committed an offense by engaging in fraud, dishonesty and misappropriation of company's uh, asset, which is clearly explained in section 238 subsection 1 subsection B, which has linked with section 198 subsection 1 subsection C and also section 238 subsection 2 of Companies Act 2016, in which the company secretary has failed to act honestly or with reasonable diligence, so he will be considered to have breached his duty. Therefore, the company has a full right and capacity to sue him for the breach of duty, disqualifying him from being the secretary of the company or file a case against him for the wrongful act by providing all the reasonable reasons and also asking for compensation for the losses that they have incurred. So in the present case, the company has taken action against him, which shows that they have the rights and capacity on doing so. So the conclusion, the Secretary of State Government Link Company breached his duty because he has engaged in a wrongful act, including fraud, dishonesty, and misappropriation of corporation asset, in which he had prepared false documentation to get approval for the payment of higher dividend, director allowance, and also incentive for secretary and also accountant of the company. Uh, although there is no reason, although there is no evidence, but he had made he has committed that offense. So the company has the rights to take action against the secretary for the breach of duty as the secretary of the company. So that's all from me. I will.
So for the court held and sanction given, the secretary of the state government linked company breached its duties to the company by providing documents such as meeting minute and approval letter that are false or contain false details with the intention to deceive the principal. The company secretary can be sued under Section 18 of the MACC Act 2009, which states that if the court finds the individual guilty of making false claims, they may be sentenced to imprisonment and or a fine depending on the severity of the offense and other relevant factors. It is important to note that being remanded is not the same as being found guilty of a crime, and the individual has the right to defend themselves against the charges brought against them. They can do this by engaging the services of a qualified attorney and presenting evidence in their defense. Next slide. To prevention from the charges against him, the secretary can do to prevent charges of making false claims. The secretary of the state government linked company should always ensure that any information he provides or claims he makes accurate and truthful. Making false statements or claims with the intent to mislead people or to benefit oneself or another person is illegal in Malaysia under the penal code and other relevant legislation. If he is facing charges for making false claims, he should seek a legal advice from a qualified attorney to understand the specific charges against him and the legal options that are available. He may need to also provide evidence to support his defense, such as documentation or witness statements to prove that his claims were truthful or made in good faith. It is also important to the secretary to understand that being remanded does not imply being found guilty of a crime. A remand is a judicial procedure in which an accused individual is imprisoned for a set amount of time, usually up to 14 days, in order to assist with the investigations. So during this time, the secretary of GLC is still permitted to contest the charges against him and may be released on bail or conditional release until the trial is finished. Next slide. The lessons that are obtained from this case from the perspective of a secretary is the role of a secretary is to ensure that the company's records and documents are accurate, complete, and up to date. The secretary also has a responsibility to ensure that the company is complying with the relevant legal and regulatory requirements. The secretary must exercise professionalism and integrity while handling sensitive documents and financial matters. In this case, the alleged falsification of documents to obtain approval for payments highlights the importance of maintaining integrity and following proper procedures when preparing and handling company documents. The Secretary of GLC must ensure that all documents and records are authentic and accurately reflect the decisions made during the meeting. Additionally, The Secretary must ensure that the records are maintained according to the Companies Act 2016 in Malaysia and other relevant guidelines and regulations. Furthermore, it's essential for the Secretary to report any suspicious activities to the relevant authorities or compliance department. Whistleblowing can help prevent fraudulent activities and ensure that proper procedures are followed. Says the Secretary should also maintain open communication with the company's management and stakeholders and provide them with accurate and complete information in a timely manner. Overall, this case serves as a reminder for young auditors or secretaries to maintain integrity and adhere to regulations while conducting their work and to report any suspicious activities to the relevant authorities. Next. That's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.